My beloved child, stop for a second, because something invisible is happening between you and the person your soul cannot forget. Not tomorrow. Not someday far away. Right now. There is a silence around your connection that feels heavier than words. And if you have been sensing distance, confusion, strange energy shifts, it is not your imagination. Your soulmate is standing at the edge of a decision so powerful that it could redirect both of your futures forever. But here is the strange part. The choice is not simply about love. It is about timing. Identity. Fear of becoming someone new. And deep down, they know that once they step fully toward you, nothing in their life will remain the same again. Pause here and feel that. Because most people think soul connections arrive gently, like calm waves touching the shore. But real soul bonds? They arrive like storms disguised as destiny. They awaken sleeping parts of the heart. They force hidden truths to rise to the surface. And your soulmate, they are trying to understand why every path keeps leading back to you no matter how hard they try to silence it. There is something they have not confessed to anyone. At night, your energy returns to them in flashes. A memory. A feeling. A sentence you once said. Even the absence between you speaks louder than the noise around them. And that terrifies them. Because they are being pulled between two worlds. One world feels safe. Predictable. Controlled. The life they built before realizing you existed in this way. The routines. The expectations. The version of themselves everyone already understands. And then, there is you. The unknown future. The magnetic future. The future that demands courage. What if this moment changes your entire path? Your soulmate keeps asking themselves that question without even realizing it. They wonder why they cannot fully walk away emotionally. Why your presence lingers in their thoughts during random moments. Why every attempt to distract themselves somehow circles back to the connection they feel with you. Listen carefully now. Their tough choice is not about whether you are important. You already are. The real battle is whether they are brave enough to let this connection transform their life completely. Because once two souls recognize each other deeply, ordinary relationships stop making sense. Ordinary conversations feel empty. Ordinary futures begin to crack apart. And your soulmate feels that shift happening inside them more every single day. But they are hiding it well. On the outside, they may appear calm. Distracted. Busy. Even emotionally distant at times. Yet internally, something is changing faster than they expected. They are beginning to realize that this connection is forcing them to confront truths they avoided for years. Truths about what they truly want. Truths about who they pretend to be. Truths about the life they secretly dream about living. And you became the mirror they never expected to face. Stay a little longer, because this next part matters more than you think. There is a reason the universe has slowed certain things down between you. Not to punish you. Not to deny you. But to prepare both hearts for a future neither of you could handle too early. Your soulmate is learning that love is not possession. It is alignment. It is evolution. It is choosing growth even when comfort begs you to stay the same. That is the choice standing in front of them now. And strangely, they already know the answer deep inside. They are simply afraid of the cost. Because choosing you may require leaving behind old habits, old fears, old environments, even old versions of themselves. Few people admit how terrifying transformation feels when it finally becomes real. But something unexpected is beginning to happen. The more they resist this connection, the stronger it becomes. The signs grow louder. The dreams become clearer. The emotional pull deepens. And soon, they will no longer be able to ignore what their soul already understands. You were never sent into their life by accident. You arrived as a turning point. A living reminder that their future can become larger, deeper, more meaningful than the life they settled for before meeting you. Before you scroll away, hear this carefully. Your soulmate's silence does not always mean absence. Sometimes silence is the sound of a person standing in the middle of an internal revolution. Sometimes the heart goes quiet because destiny is rearranging everything behind the scenes. And at this very moment, their soul is closer to choosing the future meant for both of you than ever before. But wait, the story does not become clearer here. It becomes deeper. Because your soulmate has now entered the phase where signs are no longer subtle. The universe is no longer whispering to them. It is placing reminders of you everywhere they turn, almost as if reality itself refuses to let this connection fade into the background. And they notice it. They notice the strange timing. The repeated thoughts. The sudden emotional waves that appear out of nowhere. One moment they convince themselves they should move on, focus elsewhere, stay practical, and then something unexpected pulls them right back into your energy again. A song. A dream. A random memory. A feeling they cannot explain. Tell me, how many times can a soul ignore what keeps returning? That question is beginning to follow them everywhere. Because the truth is, your soulmate thought this choice would become easier with time. They believed distance would calm the connection. They assumed logic would overpower emotion. But instead, the opposite happened. The connection matured. It became quieter, but stronger. Less dramatic, but more undeniable. And that is what unsettles them most. This is no longer temporary emotion. It feels permanent. There are moments when they stare into space, replaying conversations with you in their mind, searching for hidden meaning inside simple words. They are beginning to understand that what exists between you carries a rare kind of emotional gravity, the kind that changes priorities without permission. And here is the part they have told no one. They are afraid they waited too long. Yes. That thought crosses their mind more often than you realize. They wonder if destiny has limits. If opportunities disappear. If people drift too far apart to ever reconnect fully again. Yet every time fear tells them to surrender, something stronger rises inside them. Hope. Small at first. Almost invisible. But growing. You may not see it yet, but your soulmate is slowly imagining a future where the two of you actually choose each other completely. And that vision both inspires and terrifies them. Because imagining forever with someone means risking everything emotionally. What if they are misunderstood? What if life changes too quickly? What if love this deep demands sacrifices they are not prepared for? These questions circle through their mind late at night when the world becomes quiet enough for truth to speak. And still, despite all of it, they cannot disconnect from you. That alone should tell you something powerful. Real soul bonds do not vanish because life becomes complicated. They become stronger through tension, through uncertainty, through waiting. Every challenge reveals whether the connection was illusion, or destiny preparing itself patiently. You might miss this if you leave too soon, so listen carefully. Your soulmate is standing between fear and transformation right now. One side offers comfort, the familiar life they already understand. The other side offers expansion, emotional freedom, and a future that feels almost unreal in its intensity. And you are at the center of that crossroads. Not because you forced your way there, but because your presence awakened something dormant inside them. You made them feel seen in ways they were not prepared for. That changes a person. Suddenly they question old relationships, old routines, old masks they wore just to survive. And once that awakening begins, it becomes impossible to return fully to who they used to be. That is why their energy feels inconsistent sometimes. Part of them is reaching toward you. Another part is still trying to protect themselves from the magnitude of what this connection could become. But the balance is shifting now. Slowly. Quietly. Irreversibly. And soon, they will realize that the greatest risk was never loving you deeply. The greatest risk was pretending they did not. If this message feels strangely connected to your own journey, let that feeling stay with you for a moment. And if your intuition has been sensing movement beneath the surface, you are not imagining it. Sometimes the soul notices change long before the physical world catches up. Because the next chapter of this connection is already beginning to move toward you. Hold on, because the energy surrounding this connection is shifting faster now than either of you expected. Something inside your soulmate is reaching a breaking point, not a collapse, but an awakening. And once this realization fully reaches them, there will be no returning to the person they used to be before you entered their life. You can feel it, can't you? That strange tension in the air. That feeling that something important is approaching. As if the universe itself is holding its breath for one final decision. Your soulmate has spent so much time trying to analyze this connection logically. They searched for reasons, explanations, distractions. But some bonds cannot be solved like puzzles because they were never meant to be understood only by the mind. They are meant to be felt. And now, feeling is becoming impossible for them to avoid. There are moments lately where your absence suddenly feels louder to them than anyone else's presence. Crowded rooms no longer distract them the way they used to. Conversations feel incomplete. Achievements feel strangely hollow. Because deep down, they know something essential is missing. You. Not in a dramatic fantasy. Not in an unrealistic way. But in the quiet, undeniable way truth settles into the soul when denial finally loses its power. And this is where everything changes. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that the difficult choice was never truly about choosing between you and another path. The real choice has always been between fear and authenticity. Between surviving emotionally, or fully living. That realization is shaking their entire inner world. Because for the first time in a long time, they are imagining what life could look like if they stopped resisting what their heart already knows. They picture conversations that heal instead of drain. A future built on emotional depth instead of performance. A connection where they no longer have to hide parts of themselves just to feel accepted. And every image of peace somehow leads back to you. Wait till the final moment, because this next truth matters deeply. Your soulmate has started noticing how much this connection transformed them even from a distance. They are more aware now. More emotionally honest with themselves. More conscious of the patterns they once ignored. You unknowingly became the catalyst that pushed them toward becoming the version of themselves they were always meant to grow into. That is why this decision feels so overwhelming to them. Choosing you does not just mean choosing love. It means choosing change. Permanent change. And people often hesitate right before transformation arrives. Not because the future is wrong, but because the future is bigger than the life they prepared for. Still, destiny has a strange way of removing illusions when the timing becomes impossible to ignore. Your soulmate is beginning to see clearly now who truly understands them, and who only understood the version of them that stayed small. That clarity can feel lonely at first. But it is necessary before real alignment enters a person's life. And this connection? It is alignment. Not perfect. Not effortless. But real. There is something your soulmate wants to say to you, even if the words have not reached the surface yet. I tried to silence this feeling. I tried to convince myself it would fade. But no matter where I go, something inside me keeps returning to you. That truth has become impossible for them to escape. And here is the beautiful part. The closer they move toward accepting this connection, the more fear begins losing its grip. They are slowly realizing that love is not here to destroy their future. It is here to reveal it. A future where they stop settling. A future where emotional honesty replaces confusion. A future where two souls stop running from what was written long before they met. Before you leave, remember this carefully. Some connections arrive to teach lessons. Some arrive to create memories. But a rare few arrive to redirect an entire destiny. Yours is one of them. And right now, somewhere between uncertainty and courage, your soulmate is preparing to make the choice that could finally bring both of your paths together. Listen closely now, because the moment your soulmate feared for so long is no longer far away. It is approaching quietly. Carefully. Like sunrise before the world fully notices the sky has changed. Something inside them has shifted permanently. The confusion that once clouded their heart is beginning to dissolve, and in its place comes a clarity so powerful that even they cannot ignore it anymore. Not because someone forced them. Not because circumstances demanded it. But because the soul eventually becomes exhausted from pretending not to recognize what feels like home. And you have started to feel like home to them. Not temporary comfort. Not fleeting excitement. Something deeper. The kind of connection that makes a person rethink everything they once believed about love, timing, and destiny itself. For a while, your soulmate believed they could delay this decision forever. They thought there would always be more time. Another season. Another distraction. Another excuse to keep emotions safely hidden beneath the surface. But life has a way of cornering the truth gently. Now they are noticing how empty certain paths feel without you in them. They are beginning to realize that success means very little when the soul feels disconnected from what truly matters. And every future they imagine without this connection somehow feels incomplete, like a beautiful story missing its final chapter. That realization changes people. You will understand everything at the end, so stay with this feeling for a moment longer. Because your soulmate is no longer asking themselves whether this connection is real. That question has already been answered deep inside their heart. The question now is whether they are ready to step fully into the future this bond has been trying to lead them toward all along. And the answer is getting closer. There is a battle happening inside them even now. One voice says, "Stay where life feels familiar. Stay safe. Stay guarded." But another voice, quieter, wiser, impossible to silence, keeps reminding them. You were never meant to live half awake. That voice grows louder every day. And strangely, the more they accept their feelings for you, the more peace begins entering their spirit. Fear starts losing control. Confusion begins fading. What once felt impossible starts feeling inevitable. Because love rooted in truth carries a different energy. It does not beg. It does not chase endlessly. It simply remains, until both souls are ready to recognize its full power. Your soulmate is approaching that recognition now. Maybe not perfectly. Maybe not all at once. But undeniably. There are moments when they already imagine reaching out to you differently. Speaking more openly. Dropping the emotional armor they wore for years. Letting you finally see the parts of themselves they kept hidden from the world. And that thought no longer scares them the way it once did. It excites them. Because deep down, they are beginning to understand something extraordinary. The future they feared might actually be the future that frees them. A future where connection replaces loneliness. Where honesty replaces silence. Where two people stop fighting destiny and finally walk in the same direction. And if you have stayed until this moment, perhaps your soul already sensed this shift before your mind could explain it. Sometimes intuition notices the arrival of change long before reality reveals it fully. If this message touched something real inside you, let your thoughts flow below. Someone else may need these words at the exact moment they find them. And if this journey speaks to your spirit, stay connected here, because some messages arrive exactly when the soul is ready to hear them. Now hear this final truth carefully. Your soulmate's tough choice was never truly about losing freedom. It was about finding the courage to choose a love powerful enough to transform both of your lives forever. And somewhere, at this very moment, they are closer than ever to choosing you. My beloved child, one final veil is lifting now. And what happens next may become the moment both of your lives divide into two timelines, the one where fear stayed in control, and the one where love finally became stronger. Because your soulmate is no longer standing where they were when this journey began. They have changed. Quietly. Deeply. Irreversibly. The person who once hesitated, doubted, overthought every emotion, is beginning to disappear. In their place emerges someone more honest with themselves than ever before. Someone who finally understands that certain connections are too rare to abandon simply because they arrived wrapped in uncertainty. And that realization has shaken their soul awake. For a long time, they believed they needed guarantees before making a decision about your future together. Proof. Certainty. Perfect timing. But destiny rarely moves according to human plans. Sometimes the heart recognizes truth long before life feels fully prepared for it. Your soulmate is beginning to accept that now. They are realizing that waiting forever is also a decision. Silence is also a decision. Running from love is also a decision. And suddenly, those choices no longer feel safe to them. Because every road they tried without you eventually brought them back to the same emptiness. The same unanswered feeling. The same quiet pull toward the person who changed something inside them without even trying. You. There is something almost cinematic happening beneath the surface now. The universe is aligning conversations, timing, emotions, and realizations in ways neither of you can fully see yet. Tiny shifts are unfolding behind the scenes. Thoughts are becoming clearer. Emotional walls are weakening. Old fears are losing their power one layer at a time. And your soulmate feels it happening. That is why they have become more reflective lately. More emotional in unexpected moments. More aware of what truly matters. They are starting to recognize how many distractions once kept them disconnected from their own heart. But not anymore. Now they are searching for meaning. For truth. For emotional peace. And every search keeps leading back to the connection they share with you. Pause here for a second. What if the delay was never rejection? What if it was preparation? Preparation for two souls to grow strong enough to carry a future bigger than either of them imagined before. Because the kind of bond you share is not built for shallow timing. It is built for transformation. And transformation often requires both people to become someone new before the path can fully open. Your soulmate understands this now more than ever. They are beginning to see you not as a complication, but as clarity. Not as pressure, but as purpose. You became the mirror that reflected the life they secretly wished existed beyond fear. And once someone sees that vision clearly, it becomes impossible to forget. Stay until the final line, because this may be the message your soul needed most. Very soon, your soulmate will stop asking themselves whether this connection is worth the risk. Instead, they will begin asking a different question entirely. What if losing this connection becomes the greatest regret of my life? That question changes everything. Because regret carries a heavier weight than vulnerability ever could. And now, for the first time, they are starting to understand that choosing love does not mean losing themselves. It means finally becoming who they were always meant to be. A person capable of depth. Of honesty. Of real emotional courage. The future ahead of both of you may still contain unknowns, but something powerful has already been decided in the unseen world. This connection was never created to remain unfinished forever. And if these words found you at the right moment, trust that there is movement happening beyond what your eyes can currently see. Some endings are secretly beginnings wearing different faces. So breathe deeply into this truth. Your soulmate's difficult choice is reaching its conclusion. The confusion is fading. The resistance is weakening. And the closer they move toward their authentic self, the closer they move toward you. Because in the end, destiny does not force souls together. It simply keeps guiding them back to each other, until they finally stop running and choose the future waiting for them all along.